Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today's video is as easy as they come. This is mixed media. It's what I call paint smushing. I don't know if there's a term for it. The white that I used in there was gesso, and you could easily use white paint. It was just a matter of what I reached for. This is a technique that I use to make fun embellishments. These make great layers and embellishments. They're fun to give away in Happy Mail. They're a fun surprise on a card. And you can do a card that's just really different. I think I made some Valentine type cards with them before, and you can customize them to anyone's favorite color. I'm not using any certain brand of paint. I'm using colors that I like and mixing them up. And the video in some parts is 3 times the normal speed, and then some parts of it are just normal speed so you can see. Blue is opposite orange on the color wheel, so sometimes it's fun to have a little orange with your blue. And I just move it around on the packaging, and you'll notice these are 6x6 pad packages. And I talked about these in some other videos, but I just wanted you to see that this is what I do. I just play with it. That was some Martha Stewart glitter paint, and then I decided I kind of didn't like it, but in the end I did like the added glitter to the sheet. So it's just really fun to use your trash, and that's what these papers all are, and it can be any kind of acrylic paints that you have. You could use your Dilutions paints or your Dina Wakley paints, or you can use your 50 cents a bottle Walmart acrylic paint. It doesn't matter what paint you use. Those of you who are familiar with gel printing and use stencils and all sorts of things, you can do much fancier versions for sure, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. You'll still have fun, and getting out your paint and playing with it is one of the things that I know many of us have talked about for 2021. We buy these beautiful colors and then we don't use them. Here I got blue in my gesso. I know, shocking. All of my stuff ends up blue. So then I grabbed something else to get the blue out of it because I didn't want to let it dry in there. And I'm just grabbing completely different brands of paint just based on the color and trying to find a more medium blue so that I can get some more interest and contrast. If you're a pink lover, use every color of pink. If yellow is your color, or greens, if you do this with colors that you love, you will love the results. And I know when to stop when I run out of space to dry things. If you're really smart, you're going to tidy up your workspace before this or clear off the kitchen counters or something, but you might not think to do that. You don't need any fancy tools. You could use, if you don't have a glass mat, you could use an old cookie sheet. You could use an old cutting board. You could use a fairly newer cookie sheet and then clean it off later. Any hard surface that you could clean off and have fun with it. In the end, I have paint all over my nails, but it works out fine. Look, when you add in the yellow, I know Cheryl likes that one. Just have a great time with it and try different colors. If you watch my channel, you know that I'm not a pink fan, but every once in a while I'll toss in a pink just because it adds interest to my projects. It's really fun to try things and see how the yellow and the blue, you just end up with so much bright and cheerful stuff. These make amazing die cuts, just absolutely amazing. You can die cut your printed papers or your card stock or whatever, but you can't get the interest and the variety that you would get with these. And you could do this for hours for not much money. This is also, if you're brave, a really fun project to do with little kids. The only thing is, it's not really just something you would do in an afternoon because they can't die cut them. They can do the paint smushing and leave them, but then, your grandkids might need to spend the night or whatever to have fun with it. Here, I'm just cleaning all of that up. This one doesn't have a lot of color in it, but I don't like any product to get away. I try to cover up the majority of the paper because otherwise you can only get 1 or 2 die cuts out of them, and then it might not be enough. Here's where I'm bringing in that lace. I think I showed you in updates video. It was very yellowy, not really ivory, but yellowy. And I kept pulling it out and it didn't work on any of my projects. So I sprayed it with the Dina Wakley acrylic gloss sprays. Those are the only acrylic spray paint product that I'm aware of like that. They cover differently and dry differently. They're not ink. They're not water soluble. Those bottles stick together like crazy, so I couldn't get the lid off. I had pretty good luck with the bottles this day, and what I did was I put them in the pockets of my sweats and wandered around the house, and I don't know, I was vacuuming, doing a few things, and it seemed to like warm them up and just gently shake them. It was probably like 20 minutes. I don't know, whatever works. Sometimes I use like a flannel shirt and I put stuff in the pockets of it. And here I'm just trying to get every last bit of goodness off the board, because I don't like to let this stuff dry on the board. Even if you think, oh, that color is too dark, I don't like that purple or whatever, don't let it dry on there. Put it on a piece of paper and die cut it, because you will be amazed at what you like and what goes nicely with your projects. I don't wait until I have a project in mind necessarily to die cut these. I'll die cut a bunch of shapes and then just put them in a little container or pile on the counter, and they end up in projects. Here I actually got out a brayer, which is something that you use for gel printing and a lot of different types of printing. But if you don't have one, fine. You could use your hands. I was just trying to get every last bit of gooey mess off that mat and onto that piece of paper. Any flat surface, or if you have one of those roll-up acrylic mats, or some people use like a Dollar Tree cutting board, whatever. It doesn't have to be any of the tools or paints you see here. And you'll notice my thumb is very teal at this point, and that takes a while to come off. But I just wanted you to see, many of you like these when you see them in projects, and I just want you to see how they come about. You just have to take, 15 or 30 minutes, do a bunch of them, and then set them aside to dry. My number one recommendation absolutely is be sure you let them dry all the way before you try and die cut them. Here I had a bunch of extra gesso on that card, and I'm just trying to put it on a piece of paper. I don't want to let it get away. But like I was saying, be absolutely sure without a doubt that they are dry before you put any dyes or run them through your die cutter, because otherwise you will be very unhappy with me. And the gesso did not die cut really well. It was a little thick, so that was one of the hardest things I've worked with, and I would recommend white paint next time. But look how neat. They keep a little bit of the texture. That's why I like to use different brands of paint, because they come out different. And the butterflies, imagine that layered up with something else. And the same here. So much fun variety. Those are just a couple examples. I hope you're taking time for crafting and relaxing. Bye-bye.